it's a mistake to put all your eggs in a basket mentally when it comes to hiring employees.
Yeah.
What I mean is like, you do not like, I would say if people make it past 30 to 60 days, then you mentally go, oh, okay, like this is the one. But like, I can't tell you guys how many times I've gone through a roller coaster of like, oh, this is the person, this and that. And then we're like 2 weeks in and I'm like,
this is not the person.
This is not the person.
Welcome to Big Business Mistakes, hosted by Brandon and Kaelin Poulin. Here, the most successful entrepreneurs tell jaw-dropping stories and lessons behind their biggest business mistakes so that you don't make them. Ditch the fake highlight reel and get the raw truths and golden lessons of what it actually takes to scale your business from those who have done it. This is Big Business Mistakes.
I have absolute like joyful anticipation. I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
The right signs are showing, but I would not even flinch if I got an email 3 days from now. Hey, I don't think this is for me. Like, because that happens, guys. Like, people, like, they think they know what they want. And sometimes maybe we misrepresent what it is, right?
I don't really think you do. I think you overrepresent.
I probably overrepresent. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, in general, like maybe we misrepresent what the role was. Maybe like they just didn't really know what they wanted and they needed to like jump into it for 2 weeks. Like, and this is the hard part. Like, people are people.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think what you're trying to say here is like being sold on the person doesn't happen when you hire them. Like, I would say it's more like 90 days for you than 30 to 60, but it's like you be sold on them after the 90-day mark of like, it's been proven out that they're the person for the role. Like, when you make the hire, not like, this is the one, I'm sold on this person. Like, they're going to come in and fix all these things. And like, this is the one for the long haul. It's more like you hire the person, let them sell you over the 90 days of actually working in the business. And then you're like, okay, like this is the one, like the trust, like you've developed the trust there. Like the trust is not developed through the hiring process. It's developed through the working in the business, like proving it out.
Yeah. Because if you're not careful, you'll be like, so like plant your flag on a hill ready to die.
Yeah.
And like, they'll let you down, or you'll start making excuses for them.
Yeah.
And like, that's happened to me as well. So just like side trail here of like such a, like, I can't tell you guys how much kind of like in my guts, like I
used
just
to wreck you,
wrenched over this because, you know, people don't meet your expectations and you get excited and you're like, oh, like, I know that. Look, guys, most of the time people will solve all the problems in your business, right?
The right person.
A lot of times, like hiring the right people will help give you the bandwidth you need to take initiatives forward, to alleviate stress that you have doing certain stuff that you don't like to do. You know, it's just like people are what can solve problems in your business and alleviate so much pressure and friction for you as the entrepreneur. Yeah. But like, it's an emotional roller coaster for sure when that kind of stuff happens. So back to Shmisha, right?
Shmisha.
Back to Shmisha. So Shmisha.
I'm sorry.
Get it together, Kaelin.
It's just so funny. Like, Shmisha is something I would say, not you. So it's just funny.
Like when we were prepping for this episode, I was like, let's just call her Shmisha.
I was like, I don't want to say her name. And Brandon goes, Shmisha. Oh my gosh. Okay. I got it together, I think.
So we're literally, so let her go, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, moving on. You know,
at this point, it was like a whole week.
Like, I've had a lot of assistants. I've had a few great ones over the last decade. And the last one I had was incredible, left because she really wanted to do her own thing.
Yeah.
And
went and started her own business.
So when people leave working for me and they go and they do something greater, like, I'm always happy for them. Like, that's what we want people to evolve. Right. And I didn't have a place for her at the time. That was that. I think that's what we should try to do first. Anyways, so back to Shmisha.
Yeah.
So I get sidetracked, but I'm like, oh, that's such a good one. So we let her go and I'm just like, okay, moving on. And then I get a letter and it's from, I think the acronyms are EEOC. It says EEOC. It looked very official. It was like the ugly turquoise from New Mexico.
Yeah.
like the ugly letterhead.
Mhm.
And so I open this up, and basically I begin to read what's basically where an employee goes. I think it's Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. If I might be butchering it, but it's something like that. And so basically I began to read this letter, and it was a formally filed complaint with the state that I was a racist employer, right? That I was a racist, and that I was paying other people more money because of their race, right?
Mm.
And I'm like the racist white guy, right?
Yeah, that's what you were pinned as.
Yeah, that's what I was pinned as, right? They, like, insane.
Well, at
So
the same time, there's like 2 white people in our entire church.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, and like there was like a great ethnic salad bowl of like people that were working for us at the
Yeah.
time. Like, I don't care what you look like. I care what your results are, and that you have integrity as a human being. Like, I don't care like what color of the rainbow you are, the melanin of your skin. I'm like, bro, like, do
Yeah.
you get results? And actually, white people are lazy sometimes. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's
I'm
so
like,
true.
there's some cultures out there that work so much harder than Americans,
Mhm.
or people that their families from America.
Mhm.
And so anyway, so I began to read this letter, and it just devastated me. I'm like,
Well, because it
this
was like really the
this
first attack
woman,
on your character as
yeah, it
well.
was like
Yeah.
this woman was in all of my stuff. She was my assistant. Now she's calling me a racist, saying I didn't pay her fairly, and that I owed her all this money for work she did after hours, and that I like grinded her. And I'm like, you can't even like schedule appointments and do assistant stuff when other places are closed. Like,
Yeah.
it didn't even make any sense.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just like bewildered, and it wrecked me. Like, it really did. I don't know why this one did. I think we had hired maybe like 7 or 8 people at this point. And it just, the fact that I was being like, my character was being assassinated
Mm.
when I hold myself to, I believe to have great character, especially in this area, right? Like Albuquerque, New Mexico, like I'm a minority,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like I'm literally a
Yeah. And it's
minority
like
in this
our
town.
best friends are like like our best friend is Mexican. Like your best friend, one of your best
Yeah.
friends is black.
Like Asian friends, black
Yeah,
friends,
yeah.
Mexican friends. I had all kinds
Yeah,
of
all
friends.
kinds of
Like
friends.
I was a minority.
Yeah, and also all kinds of employees.
And yeah, and so I'm just like, are you kidding me? And so guys, like, you just got to understand that people are people,
Mhm.
and it's just them, it's not you, right? And
Yeah.
so here's how this went down, and this is where, like, as a business owner, I created a bucket for this, right?
Mhm.
And I'll tell you in a second what that is. And so I end up having to go down to the whatever office building I had to go down to. They assigned us like a mediator, and so she said, "Hey, you owe me all this money. It's like $12,000 or something in wages, or $5,000 in wages I didn't pay." Absolute nonsense. I had like a letter, like, here's you acknowledging exactly how the time tracking system works,
Yep.
right? Here's all of your hours in the system. Like, here's all the pay stubs. Like, I had all the evidence. I had a stack of paperwork this big. But I still had this gut in my stomach, like, man, I got to go sit at a table with this woman who's like assassinated my character, said I'm a racist. I've got all this evidence and proof.
Yeah.
And I go and sit down. And when she got hired with me, she never intended to finish or operate in the role.
Yeah.
Like
This ended up being her track record, right? Like
yep.
that's what you found out.
And that's what I found out later, is that her track record was this exactly, right? We go get hired somewhere,
Mhm.
we cry wolf, and then we go to the government, and the government, unfortunately in New Mexico, is, like, I think there's probably a lot of injustice in the workplace.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
that's not cool. But this was not an injustice, right? This was like, I was being taken advantage of, right?
Mhm.
And so I go sit down at this table and present all the evidence, bring all the facts. All she says is, here's stuff. I worked these hours and he owes me this money.
Yeah, with no proof. Like you
No
had all
proof.
the proof,
No proof.
like her literal
Nothing.
she logged her hours herself. Like
Yes.
her hours are logged by her. And you have all this proof
All
and
of
all
it.
the pay stubs and all the everything, and it didn't matter.
Yeah. And I'm like, here's the other people that work for me.
Yeah.
Nobody's like, she's making more money than these other people that she claims.
Like they came in and interviewed.
Yeah.
Like our very first hire was an awesome guy from Mexico who was my graphic designer, who literally was with us for 6 years. And they came in and like interviewed other people, like asking them, do you feel like this is true? Like, what has happened, you know?
Yeah. And it was, yeah. So I sit down at the table and turns out they sided with her. It was like, okay, you owe her all this money. And it was like 12 grand. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, what? I'm
Yeah.
like, how?
Yeah.
I'm
Can
like,
you
what
do the math for
evidence?
me?
Yeah. I'm like, but they didn't care.
Yeah.
Right. So there's this bucket that I have, and it's called the cost of doing business bucket. Right.
Yeah.
It's the cost of doing business bucket. And so when things happen that, there's a lot of mistakes that you make. And the mistake I made, right, was ultimately when there's a few things I'll get into, but sometimes like you just don't know what you don't know. And that's why you listen to a show like this, right?
Yep.
And so next time when an employee assassinates your character or you're betrayed, right?
Mhm.
And just know that there's a bucket, and it's the cost of doing business bucket.
Mhm. Yep.
Right. And you just take it and you drop it in the cost of doing business bucket, and just
Yeah.
understand that as an entrepreneur, stuff is going to fly your way. It's going to just be a cost of doing business. And that's where you got to throw it in that bucket, because like it sucks. It's not fair. It's not right. It's not just, but like you can either be the victim or you can figure it out later. Right.
Yeah.
And so ultimately what happened is I realized that in the interview, like, and I was like, God, what happened? Like searching my brain, like, what did I
What
do
part of the
wrong?
process?
Yeah, like what broke down? How did I not see this coming?
Mhm.
Right. And I think it was like somebody with a legal background, right,
Yeah.
was applying to be an assistant, right?
Mhm.
Knew that she was going to get into all my stuff, was going to be able to see it all, right?
Mhm.
Had a legal background, understood, hey, I can here's how the process works with the state, right?
Mhm.
Like it was just like weird. Like, why would an assistant, like someone applying to be executive assistant, have a legal background, right?
Mhm.
It's like it just didn't make sense.
Yep.
And then you
It
add
should have been a
on,
red flag.
should have been a red flag. And then you add on this whole like, oh, I'm a Christian too, and like just pouring into that. Like it wasn't just like a quick mention, it was like a whole thing during the
Yeah.
interview. And that should have been a red flag. So when someone uses what they know about you to like build this rapport and like really focuses on that in an interview, like be wary of that, be cautious of that.
Mhm.
Like what's the real angle here, right? And so if I think those were like, that was the key thing I took away. And the other thing I did was I got some freaking rhino skin,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. You
Because
did.
it wrecked me. It was like an entire week. I couldn't be productive. I was just like, what happened? How I'm
Well, it
not,
went on and
I'm
on and
not this
on
person.
before
And yeah.
like
And then
the hearings and like
they're
all the
interviewing,
stuff.
people. They're setting the date. I got to go down there. I got to see her. I'm just like, oh my gosh. So that one was,
And she didn't even look at you the whole time.
oh yeah, she couldn't even make eye contact.
Yeah.
She couldn't even make eye
Yeah.
contact.
Yeah, and then to find out, it's like your your lawyer tells you like, yeah, she's been involved in like other lawsuits like this
Yeah.
before.
She's done it before. So lo and behold, there you go. So that was a good one. That was a one that taught me a lot emotionally on just how to manage that, and just like, this is the bucket of the cost of doing business, right?
Yeah.
So here's another one. Ready for this
Yeah.
one?
No, I'm not ready.
Okay.
I don't think like literally you guys, if
Yeah.
that was an emotional roller coaster for you, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some of you guys might be through like going through something like that, or you have. And I love like the bucket of cost of doing business. So what else can we put in that bucket for you, Brandon? Cost of doing business.
That's going to take a lot longer than the time we have here.
Yeah, for sure.
So I hired someone, let's call her Schmeverly. Okay?
Schmeverly. Oh yeah, Schmeverly.
We got Schmeverly.
Schmeverly.
Yeah, we got Schmeverly.
She was a Schmeverly for sure.
And hired her for a writing role, right?
Yeah.
Like to write a copyright.
Yeah, she'd basically take my videos and transcribe them before we knew what
Yeah, I don't remember like all the details. but
transcription website was.
Yeah, this was like so long ago.
But
But
this is in the very beginning. Like we had just literally gotten the office. This is like legit when we
20
first decided to go from laptop lifestyle, like on the beach in Puerto Rico,
Yep.
and got the office. She was like maybe the third hire.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like the third one. And it was really interesting because the culture just wasn't there. That's what I realized with Schmeverly, right? Like when I look back, I'm like, we just like had nothing in common. There was no like cultural alignment, just nothing, right? I was just like, hey, like you have the resume, you've been a writer for a long time, like, but what I didn't really put together though was that the type of writing,
Yep.
right? And this is just like the nuance, right? And I've learned this about recruiting is like, what are you looking for? Well, you're looking for a unicorn. What's the unicorn? Somebody who in a company just like yours just completed the next 3 years, 5 years that you're about to go through,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's good.
So like, oh, you want to hire a writer. It's like, well, hire someone who's been writing for so let's say you have an e-commerce pet store, right?
Yeah.
Hire someone who's been writing for an e-commerce pet store that just finished growing it on the growth trajectory that you want to be on in the next 3 years.
Yeah, that's the unicorn.
That's like the unicorn, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so relevant experience, not just experience, but relevant experience, and recency is important as well. Like how long ago was this experience, right? Because industries mature and they shift so fast, right? So I learned really, really quickly with this one that like her writing experience was strong and like deep, but it was in more like novel fiction, more like longer form versus the shorter form type of digital stuff that we were doing, right? So while she had like the right resume and like had the experience years, the experience was not relevant, right? And so her work
and the
output,
audience was not relevant,
right? And the audience, there you go as well. That's a good one for sure. She just like, and so we come around to it, didn't do anything crazy, but just the work product wasn't there. We had a meeting, we have performance improvement plan meetings, right? Hey, we got to adjust this, we got to fix this, and did that. And the work product wasn't what we needed. I was just like, hey, this isn't working out. This isn't the type of work that we need. We got to let you go, right? It's like, we had this meeting. You understand how we needed X, Y, Z. Yeah. Okay. So you understand why I have to let you go, right? It's like, if you've done your job, people should never be surprised when they're let go. Like, look, layoffs happen and that's just a surprise sometimes. Like there's no way to avoid that as a business owner, but on a one-on-one basis, people should not be surprised that they're being let go. Like, I think that's a mistake, right? You got to give them an opportunity to fix it. And then you just simply say, like, if you give them an opportunity to fix it and then they don't meet the standard, then you say, hey, we had that meeting and you need to do X, Y, Z. Well, it's not happening. And so you understand why I have to let you go, right?
Yeah.
And like, that's it. That's it, right? So I had this conversation with her, let her go.
Well, before you let her go, though, there was the thing with the fluorescent lights in the office.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the fluorescent lights. So, we're in a really nice office building, like great office building, great views, great bathrooms, like brand new building. It's gorgeous. Like, it's amazing. Like, I was like shocked that we got like this office space. And it was beautiful and amazing, and everyone loved it. And the thing with Schmeverly was, after she first got hired, she was like, the fluorescent lights in here, give me a headache, whatever. And we're like, okay. I mean, so she would constantly like turning the lights off in the office, and everyone would be
I remember walking in and I was like, why are the lights off?
Yeah.
I'm like, what
like
is this,
day
like
after
nap time?
day. And yeah, we have other employees in there, and she would turn the lights off on
like,
everybody.
nap time?
In the office. And I mean, there's probably like, it wasn't a huge office. It was a very small space. There's probably like
1,000 square feet.
Yeah, 1,000 square feet, like 4 actual, things in there. And so the lights would always be off. And then we're just like, listen, you can't keep turning the lights off on everyone. Like people are trying to work. This is a workspace, right? And then came to Brandon and was like, hey, I'm going to need you to buy me, like, you need to buy me these special set of glasses for me to work.
They were like $500.
Yeah, they're like $500 glasses that she wanted you to buy her with her prescription in them.
Because
her to be able to
we
work.
had fluorescent lights in an office building.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what office building doesn't have fluorescent lights.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Honestly, I'm like, okay, guys, what office buildings have like dim yellow light? Like, none of them.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, hey, like, I totally like don't want you to have problems, but like we have an office, we need the lights on. It's not like now I can't have a nap time atmosphere in my office.
Yeah.
Like, we got work to do.
It's like dark in there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, if you're in here by yourself, turn the lights off. It's cool. Right.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But if other people are here, which is every day, it's like you got to turn the lights on, and like, I can't buy your $500 glasses because this is like standard issue,
Yeah.
Like, and like, maybe if it was like, hey, we're a year down the road and you're like, you've done a great job, and I'm like, we've got rapport and trust, and like, and you're like, come to me with something like that. I think it's a little different than like coming out of the gate, like week 2.
Yeah.
And so I think I totally forgot about that. And I think she resented me because of this.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so whether that had something to do with the work product or not, I have no idea.
Yeah. And,
right.
And even after the whole conversation about keeping the lights on and everything, like we'd roll up to the office, or I'd roll up to the office. You would be in your office and you'd usually be there before me, but I'd roll in and then the lights would be off and I'd like turn them back on and then you come back out at lunchtime, they'd be off again. Like even after all these conversations and
like,
everyone else in the
like
office is like, what is happening? Like, why, what is this like fight over the lights on and off, you know?
Yep. So we let Schmeverly go.
Yeah.
And
later down the road, it was probably like what? She worked for us for probably like 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah, it was like 3 months.
A while. Yeah.
That's what I'm telling you guys. It's the first 90 days. It's like if everything goes well past that, then be like, oh, all right, we got them. You know what I mean? They're the right person because weird stuff
Yeah, it
happens.
might be the fluorescent lights.
Totally. Oh my gosh. Don't have fluorescent lights in your office building.
Gosh.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So
I think we even took a vote. I think we took a vote in the office.
Did we?
Yeah, we did. Of who wanted the lights to be on and who wanted them to be off. Like that's how bad it got. Because it was like, well, if everyone feels, she's like everybody, and we're like, well, if everyone feels this way, we'll just take a vote.
We did take a vote.
We did. We took a vote.
And they wanted them on.
Yes. Yeah. And that's how we got to
Right?
it. Yeah, because we were like, well, if everyone. She's like everyone, right? And so Brandon is always like, well, if you're going to say everyone, it better be everyone. Like that better be a fact and you better be able to back that up.
Fact check.
And he's like, well, yeah, we'll take a vote. And if the rest of the employees want the lights on, then we're going to have the lights on.
I thought that was a very like equitable way to handle that.
Yeah, that is exactly the way that it happened. Like now that I'm recalling. Yeah. And everyone was like, we want the freaking lights on so we can see to work. Like can't see my stuff.
Yeah.
Can't see my keyboard, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my, that's amazing.
We took a vote.
So lo and behold, time goes on. I get a letter, another letter. Hey, whenever a government entity hits you up, it's always a letter. So just know that. I'm like, they're not calling.
So just don't check your mail.
Yeah, no, you should check your mail. Don't check your mail. Yeah, that was the solution. Oh my god.
Oh,
this is why I run the operations, guys.
Exactly. I'd be like, hey, if I don't check my mail, I don't know.
Yeah. If I don't look at my email, I never got anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Ignorance is bliss.
Oh my gosh.
So I get a letter from OSHA.
OSHA.
Right? And like OSHA is the entity that like, I mean, you guys probably know what OSHA is, right? It's like their job is to make sure
the workplace
is safe and friendly. And like most people that deal with OSHA are like people that build houses and do manufacturing and have dangerous stuff going on in the workplace.
Right. Or like a warehouse that's 90 degrees that people are working in for 8 hours.
Yeah. And I think like, do I love government entities? No. Do I think regulation is necessary in some ways? Yes. Mm-hmm. Right. But so I get a letter from OSHA saying that they had a complaint that we had a hazardous work environment.
I'm sorry. Oh, like it's the most. If you guys would see the office, it was like the most gorgeous office too. Like even a kitchen.
Yeah, like it was beautiful. It was a brand new brick building. And in Albuquerque, it was like it was probably the nicest looking office building
in Albuquerque
in the city.
Yeah,
probably pretty close. Like like top 10.
Yes,
top 10. Like brand new building. Like beautiful elevator. Like it was nice, right? Like
There's even a parking garage.
There's a brand new parking garage.
Yeah.
So
gorgeous views of the mountain.
People haven't driven around like Metro Albuquerque and really get it's like, it's old, right? It's just not, it's not
everything's like Southwestern Pueblo style.
Everything's
like
rusty. And
everything
old.
looks sunburnt.
Yeah, it looks sunburnt. She's always said that. Everything looks sunburnt.
Everything's sunburnt.
And I love it. It's like my hometown, right? It's where I grew up.
Sorry, I'll stop talking crap.
No, it's okay. It's a little sunburned. That's right. That's right. That's what happens. That's why I get sunburned easily, you know? Like right now, look at this. I got like a superhero. If you guys see the video, look at this. We went to a PGA Tour game in Austin, and
Tournament,
I'm like,
match.
I got like a V sunburn. Anyway.
So everything looks like that, basically.
Yeah. And our office was beautiful. So I'm looking at this letter from OSHA, like, what is happening? Right.
Hazardous work.
So they show up, right? The guy shows up.
And they show up like unannounced, right?
Yeah.
Like they just roll up to the office.
The guy shows up unannounced.
Because they like to catch you off guard.
Yeah. Freaking OSHA. I'm like, I have an internet company and I have OSHA called on me.
So the claims were the fluorescent lighting, and then it was like there was ceiling tile work because we had just moved to this office before, and I think they were running better internet for us or something like that, but they were working on the ceiling, so there was exposed wires while they had like the ceiling tiles removed, and then something about like fire extinguishers or something, right?
Yeah, it was just absolute nonsense. Like, so OSHA shows up and this guy comes in and I'm like, he's like, hey, but I'm like, hey,
With
man,
his
what's going on?
portfolio.
Yeah, he's got his little clipboard. And I'm just like, hey, man, what's going on? And he's like, hey, I'm with OSHA. We had a complaint. You guys had exposed wiring, that it was hazardous. Something's going on. Like your lighting isn't safe. And I'm just like, well, it's all yours, man. Look around. So I go sit at my desk and I'm just almost laughing to myself. I'm like, this is such a joke. Like, I'm not stressed at all about this one. This one, I'm like, no, I'm like totally fine. I'm just like, that woman called OSHA on me. I'm like, this one was like a badge of honor for me. Cause I'm like, I did everything to like acquiesce to what she wanted. We took a vote. Like, it was ridiculous.
We took a vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, yeah, I mean, how else do you handle that? So anyway, so he comes in my office and he's like, all right, man. He's like, I don't see anything here. And you can tell he gave me the look like, this is the stupidest call I've ever taken. Like, he looked at me like, I have no idea why I'm here. And I was like, yeah, man, is there anything I can do? I just, I want to be compliant. He's like, I don't see anything here, man. He's like, yeah, you have a great day.
Schmeverly.
Yeah. And then he left and I'm just like,
but it was scary. Like OSHA just shows up and then we're just like totally caught off guard. And we're just like,
yeah,
like, oh, like this for real. Like just shows up out of the blue, out of nowhere.
Yeah. And I don't even think I knew what OSHA was.
No. We were just like, we got this letter.
I didn't even know what OSHA was.
We're like being served.
Yeah. Like I'm like 23, 24.
Yeah.
I didn't know what OSHA was.
Yeah.
I have an internet business, like I know what like the internet is. I know what like Facebook is. And so that one was fun, but it wasn't as bad. Right. And so the mistake was that the relevancy of experience. That's what it was. Right. It was a culture fit and a relevancy of experience. Like I had absolutely nothing in common. Mm-hmm. And I don't think like you need to have like, how do I explain this? I don't think you need to be like buddy or have the same hobbies or be the same age. Yeah. But when like just in communication, it's just not there.
Yeah.
With people, there's just like such a gap, and like it's not always like evident what it is. It's just like there's just like
no
nothing.
Bridge of communication. Yeah. It's almost like she was like on an island, even with the rest of the employees. Like she wasn't a culture fit with any other of the employees, and she was basically like on her own island and like didn't talk to anyone. Yeah. Like never left her desk. Like had this whole like disgruntledness amongst the other employees, like turning the lights off and like all this stuff. And there was just nothing in common. And she was like this one employee that was over here on this island while everyone else was like excited about what we were doing. There was like, she had zero excitement about what we were doing. She had zero like buy-in on the mission, like none of it. Like it's like, I'm just show up and write these things and then like, turn the lights off and get out of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a great example of culture. Like, and then just that relevancy of experience, right? It didn't equate. So Schmeverly didn't work out, but we learned something from that mistake, right? We learned something from that mistake.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, the answer is people will be people.
People are people.
Yeah.
You're going to have to put things in the cost of doing business bucket.
Yep.
Deal with drama if it's a distraction. But if it creates distraction just by feeding it, then don't talk about it, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's so good. Like I gotta like that's hard to put into practice. Like that's a really good tip for you guys. Like there were some massive nuggets in this conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed us talking about some of the mistakes we've made with people and some of the mishaps.
Schmeverly, Schmevin, and Schmitney.
Yeah, don't hire anyone whose name starts with SCH. Like, hey, as entrepreneurs, we got to look for patterns, right? That's the lesson of the day today.
Oh,
love it, guys. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. Hey, we've got 5-star reviews. We appreciate those so much. Like, if you got value from this, like the algorithm with reviews, it's part of how it works. We'd be so grateful if you subscribe and review. don't subscribe and review if you didn't like the show or didn't think it was valuable.
Yeah.
Seriously, don't. Like, we don't deserve it.
If you got to this point, you're still listening to it, you didn't like it, like,
maybe you're kind of a little strange, but hey, but we love you guys. Thanks
Thank
for
you so
watching
much.
the Big Business Mistake Show. And we're coming with some power stuff next time. And we're going to be coming with some power guests so you can hear their stories as well. So this show won't just be us. We're going to bring in some powerhouse guests.
Yeah, we get to dig into their dirty laundry.
Oh, that's going to be way more. I'm excited to do that. That's going to be good, guys. Awesome, guys. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Bye.